Welcome back to another review. This time for Batman and Superman, Super Sons. Me and Chris are covering this time. What's going on, Chris?
Not too much, man. I got a chance to check the movie out earlier. Um, give you my thoughts,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
I I felt kind of cash grabby to me, but it was like a cash grab that you could get away with.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. This is what the 25th, 30th animated movie in the series where DC Animation does two movies in their universe and then one movie out. So this will be the one movie out. We just did
Ah,
We just did Green Lantern,
right.
and another one before that. That's focusing in like the main continuity of like the animation universe they're building. So this does not
Okay.
exist in that particular universe because it's using a different style. This is the first time they're using a CG style
Oh my
for
gosh.
this movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
first time they used that. Um,
Yes.
but overall, to get applied, and then we talk about we liked it and anything like that. I liked it. I thought it was pretty dope. I thought it's a good father son movie, good family, good time. You know what I mean? If you got a kid, this is probably your movie right here.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
universe. What you think? You feeling it? You wasn't feeling
I
it?
it was like when it started. Well, you actually just answered a few
Yeah,
major things for me. I didn't know that it was purposely like out of the continuity,
yeah,
so that kind of just connected some dots. And then the fact that it was CGI and everything. So when I initially saw it, I was immediately turned off because I was like, "Yo, this is not how the movie's supposed to look." And then I did feel as I was watching, like it was definitely more kid friendly than a lot of the other stuff. Like I'm a huge DC animated universe fan. I think they did like 60 movies, and I probably own 55 of the 60.
yeah. Same here. Say yeah,
You
I
know what I
got
mean?
all of them.
Yeah, and the few that I don't have were like the Scooby Doo ones, the ones that were the kid
Oh, the
ones.
crossover. Yeah,
Yeah. So other than those, I have all of them. So my expectation was like, okay, War, Throne of Atlantis, Batman versus Robin,
right.
like along those lines.
Man,
Judas Contract.
I hate how that universe ended, but
Yeah. So it was like, okay, so now real or having the understanding it was purposely done like that makes more sense. I guess what I did like, or what I yeah, I guess it was just it was just me. What I didn't care for was the fact that Starro is once again the villain.
yeah,
My
they
man,
love some Starro in these things. Man.
bro,
They love Starro.
he's been in more. He didn't had more cameos than I can count. Like
Yeah.
Justice
So
League.
many villains I could have probably thought of to be
You
using.
feel me? And it's like it's almost the same plot because you got to keep beating them the same way. So even though they've used him in different series,
Right.
it's the same plot. Batman Brave and the Bold, Justice League, Batman Beyond. Those are the ones that come to mind off the top of my
Right.
head. But it was like it's the same plot as
Just
far as
recently
that
used it
particular.
in the Suicide Squad movie, and
Yeah,
like you said, he's getting all the cameos.
all the yeah. So it was just like I felt they could have chosen a different villain.
No, I
Um,
hear you.
yeah.
You said Batman and Superman. This is Battle of Superman, Super Son. So if you didn't know,
Mhm.
this is Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, Robin and Superboy.
Mhm.
They are pretty much come down where they have to save the world from Starro.
Yeah.
Jonathan is coming into his powers. He's pretty much lived a normal life up to this point. He's coming into his powers, and of course we know the story of Damian. He's raised by the Demon's Head, Talia al Ghul's son.
Mhm.
Batman rescued him from that life because he used to be a killer. Now he's trying to soften him up, and we get these two together. And like I said, without going into spoilers, like we get we of course we see like Damien is hard to get along with. Like he's
Yeah.
not able to join the team. Titans don't want him.
Right.
Jonathan is still trying to come to grips with he sucks without without superpowers. We see him in his first game. His dad's not around. He doesn't know why his dad's not around, which is wild to me that they decided to do that. Why
Exactly.
wouldn't that have been the first? They explained that they want him to try to live a normal life. They didn't
Normal
want
life.
him involved in anything. So not
Yeah.
telling him brings him into whatever.
Yeah, and because I was gonna say, I was like, it's my understanding that I guess the original Superboy was supposed to be Superman, just being depicted in his younger years, and then later on he took, I guess they reformatted the character, made him the clone.
Right.
That's the Superboy I'm most familiar with, like the way they depicted him in Young Justice, and that's probably my favorite iteration of Superboy. But like I said, now that you saying that it was outside of the universe, it like, okay, well, that makes sense. That's why they did that. And I guess there were still some elements they kept with the original Superboy and then like blended it with him being an actual son as opposed to a clone. How his powers kind of unlocked little by little.
Right.
That kind of had me like, but I did like the fact that Damian was more or less preserved. He was the same Damian that he's been in all the movies I've seen him in. So I did like that. And I guess even the way, and the funny thing about the movie was, as I watched it, it started to grow on me in real time. So it went from initially kind of being turned off to, as it progressed, I was like, you know what? I'll probably watch this again. It ain't so bad.
Right.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me to get past was probably the CGI. That was probably the big thing.
Yeah, it's a couple scenes where it's a little wonky, but I think they did a pretty good job with it. I mean, this movie is an hour and 20-minute runtime. So I mean, these movies are typically like an hour 20 minutes, hour 30, something like that. Never super long, but I feel like they get to the point. You know what I mean? But I thought they did a good job. I think the scene where like they shows Connor or Superboy riding on his father's back was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit kind of weird. Yeah. But other than that, I thought it held up pretty well, because I mean, other movies have been using that style too.
They have.
Like I said, I guess it just depends on your budget. The movie has a star-studded cast of voice actors. We got Laura Bailey playing Lois Lane. We got Troy Baker once again as Batman. Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Superboy. If you don't know who that is, that is the kid from Shazam that plays his friend. I cannot think of his name.
Oh, okay.
Jack, another Jack who's playing Robin, like Griot. He's playing Robin. Tom Kenny, who voices voice of SpongeBob. He is Green Arrow in the Penguin.
Okay.
Star Zeno Robinson, who just recently did a role in Dragon Ball Super, if you guys are not familiar. Jimmy Olsen in this movie. And of course, my man Travis Willingham as Superboy. I thought it was interesting because like they casted Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham, who, if you don't know, in the voice acting world, they are actually married and they have a son together. So that, just recently talked to him and just kind of saying like, hey, like that really hit him, because like, he's talking to his actual son at, playing Superman and giving him this life advice. Hey, this is what you would do, this is what you don't do, this is what you take on as a Superman role. But in this particular movie, we see Superman try to hide his son from the life, from the business, right? Because if you got superpowers, you got to step in and do something, right? Like at least gives him that chance to live that life. I thought that was interesting. He got Superman as your father, and Superboy, or Connor's Jonathan. I don't know why I keep saying Connor.
Because I think he was Connor in Young Justice,
right? Connor is the clone. Jonathan's reaction to his dad being Superman in this movie is absolutely freaking hilarious. Like, he's just like, why would I be mad? I got my dad Superman. Like, come on, that's the greatest superhero on earth. I think that's anybody's reaction to that. Like that dude's. How do you think you took that scene, like your dad's Superman?
Yeah, it would boost me if I had a parent that was any member of the Justice League. I'd be like, hey, bruh.
Any member of the Justice League?
Flash is my favorite. But I'll take Green Lantern. I'll take Wonder Woman. It don't matter. My parent is one of the strongest beings in at least our universe. Right? So chances are, if I got the genetics, it's just a matter of time before I'm flying or running or teleporting or whatever it is I'm going to do.
Right.
So I would be hyped. For Damian, the daddy issues, I guess, are understandable because of his upbringing, until the point where his mom, or at least in the other movie, where his mom brought him to Batman and was like, yo, this is your kid. And then now Batman has to kind of deprogram him from what Ra's al Ghul programmed him to do.
Right.
So that dynamic is there, and I even felt like that was present a little in this movie because I think it was Batman versus Robin, where they kind of touched on that father-son, we're related, but we don't really have a relationship dynamic, and the way that Damian looks forward to being able to just spend time with Bruce Wayne and not have to go on missions with Batman. So I feel like they touched on that a little in this movie, which was cool. But then they also, I guess, kind of presented the same kind of thing with Superman and his son when he's at the baseball game and, oh yeah, there's my dad. And so I like how they did that. They introduced or touched on those elements, which I think is important because it's like, right, if we put ourselves in that situation and our parents had to save the world every day, what does that really look like? How does that affect you as the child or the preteen? You know what I mean? Do you develop negative, a resentment toward them later on? Do you say, I understand and I love you? Like, so I thought they did a good job with that.
Yeah, they definitely try to give you a, parents have this sense of responsibility, have a role to play.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that involves them not being there for you or, stepping out and do that, even though, some of the stuff's kind of whatever, like Superman can literally fly back and be with his son within the same day. I'm like, all right, man, like you just didn't want to be there, but
right, giving me Goku vibes.
Right, it's the transmission, bro. Like I said, I mean, like they don't really get into the story of Damian and Batman too much,
right?
As the story is mainly focused on Jonathan and Clark or Superman and their story.
Mm-hmm.
You get about 35-40 minutes of them in the movie before you I don't know, probably like 30 minutes before you really get to like Bruce or Batman in the story. And we definitely see kind of like the dynamic of like how differently they're raised and like their approach to coming into fatherhood. Whereas though like you said, Batman's trying to deprogram Damian and try to show him love because he didn't really he kind of had to grow up fast and he had to put on this whole whatever and train and go out here and beat criminals up, but
right,
Jonathan actually had a chance to have a normal childhood for the first 10-11 years, whereas though Damian from birth was trained to be a super assassin,
trained to kill. And even that, like that's I don't think people really think about that when watching it. It's like if you just put that in perspective, imagine being birthed into a group of assassins. You're 3-4 years old and I'm throwing ninja stars, I'm cutting with katanas, I'm doing this, that, and the third. I think even there's one scene where they like right when they meet and he's like, yo, I've killed more people than you'll ever meet. It's like, what? But it's like, that's real, you know what I mean? And as far as his situation is concerned. So it's like the psychological effect of that on a child, that being brought up in that environment, then having to do a complete 180 and not kill people. And I like how even in previous movies, how they kind of illustrate that or what Robin would most likely think or how he would most likely react in those kind of situations. But it's something interesting to think about from that perspective of being a kid and literally being a walking killing machine.
Right. Yeah, man. I wish my dad was Superman. But like you said, I mean, these movies aren't super long. And like I said before, this is not falling in that universe as Batman: The Long Halloween and the Green Lantern and the Justice League movie and so on. So they can kind of do what, like I said, two in universe, one out. So they usually have see where they go with that. I just wish I had a little bit more time on the table to do a little bit more, and I also wish the villain just was not Starro. I would have took anything. I would have hoped there was something more, a little bit more ground level, where it was just them. But I mean, they had a global catastrophe to try to save, right? I mean, I guess you can't go bigger than that. So they try to find a villain that was going to be like a global thing.
And I get because that's Starro's MO. He wants to take over the galaxy. But I still feel like the amount of options available to them, because that's one thing I can say, I guess, about Marvel and DC universes, is the character roster is unlimited. Right. Even if you're not a hardcore comic canon person. Like, I don't read the comics so much. I more follow the cartoons and the animated movies. But it's like, even in that, there are a plethora of villains you could have gone with. Even a villain that's not well known, it's like, all right, this is the perfect time to bring some light to so and so,
right?
Whomever it was. But I just feel like Starro in particular has been in
We just
almost
sick of him, yo. We just sick of Starro.
yeah, like even Batman Beyond, he was in that. It's like, come on, dog.
All right, like we get it, man. The mind control star, man. Yeah, like I said, I mean, Starro was a big villain. Like I said, like I mean, not a big villain. I think in terms of popularity, but just a big villain that gets used a lot.
They go to
so it's, you know, I hope they never use him again. Like I said, there's other villains they could
give
use.
him a break. Yeah, like I don't see him for the next 2 or 3 years. Give him a break.
Matt Peters directed this movie. And Jeremy Adams is the writer for this movie. He also worked on the Mortal Kombat movies. So probably like some of the fight scenes you'll probably see. Which, by the way, man, freaking Batman whip his Damian's ass was probably like the best thing in the movie for me. He was just going like, and it was. This is probably like the second best Batman beating on one of his son's fights, next to other mind control Batman and oh man, I can't think. He's beating on Dick Grayson as Nightwing. Oh man, I can't think of the freaking movie. Was it Battle Blood or something like that?
Bad Blood. Batman Bad Blood. It might have been.
Yeah,
I've only seen that one once.
He gave Nightwing the works in that movie. Man.
But I felt like it was. I felt like it was gangster in the Batman versus Robin, where him and Damian went to blows like in their actual universe.
Yeah,
that was. I was like, yo, they are okay. But I did enjoy, as you mentioned, that I did, even though, like I said, like I guess the overall feel of the movie was a bit more kid friendly. Yeah. I did feel that they at least maintained the expectation on the action portion, like the fight where the sons had to fight against the dads and everything was that was fire.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, like, the fights in the movie were really good. I think the CG, like I said, just maybe a couple scenes where it just kind of wasn't. It wasn't as consistent as it could be. But like overall, I mean, I thought the message of the movie was really good with the whole father-son relationships, the parallels between Batman and Superman, and kind of how their sons are being raised. I thought it was cool. The coming into your power story and what you do with it and how you react to a thing, you know, because I was like a story like, you know, a kid gets his powers, like, what do you do when you found out your dad, you know, you're related to a superhero, or your dad is basically Superman, so you're ridiculous, right?
Right.
So, and like I said, overall, I thought the movie was really, really good. The voice acting team was really good.
Yeah,
like I wish it was a little longer, so we can get some more out of it. But I mean, hour 20 minutes is, you know, a little bit pushing it. But you know, trying to tell an origin story and wrap up a global catastrophe and the same thing is kind of hard to do. I do like the opening of the movie. I thought was really, really the way they did that was really well done.
Yeah,
it kind of like a comic book style thing, and we just kind of skip and see like how Superman grows up. That's really cool. I really like how they did that sequence. I wish they did stuff for Batman too, but hey, you know.
I guess Batman's story has been told so much, I guess, maybe.
Right. But so many times you can see two people get shot in the alley, right? Like, so every time we go see Uncle Ben get shot, man. All right, man, we got it, man.
Right.
we got it. At least change it up, you know, have him get just straight slaughtered or something, thrown off a building, but
or something. Right. Something different.
Something that's going to be truly traumatic. But like I said, overall good movie. I definitely going to see this, add this to my collection because I got to own them all. And I hope that everybody goes and supports this. You know, buy it direct, digital, so we can keep getting more of these. Man, you know, DC animation is going through some changes, and I hope that they're for the better. So, like I said, this is another good story in the slot. And I hope we can get more. I'm curious to see what the next in-universe movie is going to be at the Green Lantern, but hey, we'll see.
And what I also did like about this is they did give some shine to the other heroes. Like Teen Titans were kind of in the mix, not really, but kind of. And I like that they at least spotlighted Wonder Girl, Beast Boy, Kid Flash. Like, because I was talking to my coworker and I told him, I was like, Young Justice for me, definitely the first 2 seasons. I haven't watched it all the way through. I know they did like season 4. Yeah, I've watched through like most of season 3. I got to catch up on 4, but 3 was still good. 3 was good. So I'm confident that 4 will be the same. But the first 2, when they had like the original writing team, that was something magic. The way they did every episode, you got just enough story, just enough action. Right. Nothing was over or underdone. It was like perfection. Right. them first 2 seasons were magic, and I was like I look at that like, yo, they should do everything with that like that, like because it doesn't miss. Like I could sit and watch the first 2 seasons of Young Justice straight through, no break. It's that good for me.
Right.
But I do feel that they have for the most part maintained that pace, like in the movies. Like I said, the countless movies they've done, even the shorts, the Catwoman short, the Green Arrow short, Jonah Hex got a short, but that joint was fire. So I like a lot of what DC animated universe does. Like they're for the most part, they're pretty on point. So I can't judge them too harshly. Like they be on point for the most part.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, go out, support the movies, buy the movies, so we can keep getting more.
Exactly.
And, like I said, I liked it. I'm gonna buy it. Just keep that support going.
Yes.
Other than that, this is us with another good review for you.
Yeah. And, definitely check it out.
Terrell and Chris, catch you with another one. See you guys later.
Peace.